They're under superintendent's report.
Ah!
Yeah, so we'll just move them up.
Sorry,
without
okay.
exception.
Yep.
Without objection. Oh, no, objection.
Oh, my God.
Objection, whatever.
Oh, boy. She might object. At least she's warning us ahead of time.
Good evening. The
Good evening.
Georgetown School Committee meeting of Thursday, May 26, 2011 is called to order. The first item is the consent agenda. If there are no objections, the chair will entertain a motion to approve this agenda, which includes the regular session minutes of 5/12/11 and the acceptance of warrants 48P11 and 47V11.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We do not have a student rep. He will be graduating soon and getting a new one next fall, we hope.
Yes, definitely.
Looking forward to it. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda? Nope.
Shocking.
We don't have any public agenda items this evening. So the men from Link are up. So you can come on up and walk us through our program that we're embarking on.
Have to adapt a bit here. We're all set to have a presentation right in front of us. So we have been working with the town and the schools for quite some time. The strategy was to look for ways to reduce energy consumption, create a lower operating cost. By reducing that operating cost, you can reinvest that money back in your facilities. So monies that are going to pay electricity bills, water bills, maintenance, and things of that nature, if we reduce those expenditures and then Link guarantees those, the greater those savings are, the more we can do in your schools, in your facilities. So we're largely have completed all of our assessments, all of our engineering, all of our pricing, have turned that back into town, and we really have just a couple of areas that we need input on. Again, the project is funded through savings, so there are times when we get to a point where I can only fund so much, and then there are struggles funding some things. Been a couple changes since we put that presentation together for you to discuss tonight. The biggest being that the project we're doing for the water department is going to pay for itself in about 6 years. It's a very fast payback, some really good things going on there. So because this program is a 15-year term, that allowed the savings from the water department, we thought and hoped, and worked with Mike from the town, from years 7 to 15, we wanted to use those savings, slide them over, and pay for a bunch of school projects. But there are some prohibitions to that, not allowed, because it's a revenue-generating quasi-governmental agency. They runs on revenues versus taxes. So we actually got the decision this week that we couldn't use the savings from that project to help fund some of your capital needs. So one of the things that was almost immediately dropped off the list was the boiler at Pembroke. We can't fund that project at this point in time. There's not enough savings.
The retrofit, or?
No.
Why would that be on there?
Yeah, why is
That was
on
one of the questions. See, if you remember in the memo I talked, the projects at the Georgetown Middle High School, no problem with payback. The projects at the Pearly School, no problem, because obviously both of those going to be functioning schools basically in their current capacity for the 15 years. The issue at the Pembroke was really that obviously next year, the town hopefully will be voting in the affirmative to either build a new Pembroke school or to renovate the current school and build an addition to accommodate, either a 1 through 6 or K through 6 solution to, the needs of those kiddos in that building. Some of the things, however, that we're talking about doing, do impact the environment of the kids. One of those, really three, I think, basic things we talked about.
Right.
One was the lighting, and quite frankly, not to get ahead of ourselves, but that's one I would recommend that you include, because worst possible scenario, the bulbs and the ballasts that are the principal part of the lighting project and savings get translated over to either to other schools or the town buildings, because they'll all be the same. So it's not something that will go to waste, okay? Second was the boiler, because right now, of course, you still have a 41, now going on 41 years, your redundant boiler is original to the building. To have that replaced, initially what we were looking at is not only was that something that would immediately impact, obviously, the environment of the school, but that conceivably, well, not conceivably, very really, okay, could have been moved into a new project or as part of a reno ad and reduced significantly, okay, probably in excess of $100,000, the capital outlay that you would have for new construction. Because we can't use those water savings, that's a project we really can't include, okay? The third piece is the retro commissioning of like the air handlers and the unit ventilators. The unit ventilators would have gone through this past summer, so there's probably a little bit of stuff, but not a lot of stuff. But those air handlers clearly need some work. And I think when we were talking, we felt that the air handler retro commissioning could still be included and should still be included from a standpoint of benefit to the children. And we
Right.
can fit it
Because
into
you're
the
not going to
payback.
finish even if you build a school, it's not going to
Exactly.
be ready for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, because you're going to, yeah, exactly.
So to build off what Terry said, the reason we looked at the boiler were a couple of things. Financial benefits to maybe reduce the requirement of the bond. Second, to give you some redundancy to that heating system so that if one of the boilers went down, you still had a good, brand-new boiler sitting there. So there was some security at the system. But as he said,
That's off the table.
it's off the table. Yeah, it just can't make it work. So we're left with really the other two items, which is lighting. The really positive thing about lighting is not only is it going to improve the learning environment and improve the light levels at the desk, but the secondary benefit of that is it helps fund, it is the main reason we can fund adding ventilation at the high school. The high school doesn't have really good ventilation. We track we track some trace gases in the high school, and that's how you establish what level you want to ventilate. And right now, there's not enough ventilation in there to meet the per student code, and that project's really got to get in there. And the only way we can get that to fund is by doing the lighting project, because the lighting project pays so fast that it helps fund the high school ventilation. So then I think the only thing probably for me that's a real decision point is would you like the retro commissioning, which is us coming in, making sure all of those air handling units are working appropriately, and if not, we fix them and get them back in working order, and that's an investment that'll pay for itself as long as you have that school. So clearly within the next 3 to 4 years, that would be very beneficial to you. So I guess, Terry, with that, that's really kind of largely where we are, is some direction from you and what you'd like us to do.
And I believe in the memo that I gave you, I suggested 2 motions. The first one is related to the middle high school and the Pearly School, and basically, I think succinctly just says that you would endorse those projects going forward, as outlined, in the presentation that was in your packet, subject, of course, to the work being done in such a way that it does not interfere with summer school or school year operations, and clearly it will not. The second one, we would recommend you, or I would recommend you make the motion to endorse doing the lighting and the retro commissioning at the Pembroke School.
Just so I'm clear, and stop me if you guys have questions, the retro commissioning of the unit.
And air handlers.
And air handlers. If we do some type of new build, either reno or new building, we're not using those air handlers, right?
No.
So it would be just over the next 3 to 4 years.
Right.
And at the end of that 3 to 4 year, what's a typical payback period?
Well, the investment on the retro commissioning right now is about $65,000. That's the cost. And that's really the way you look at that, is that's really a very detailed service or maintenance program on those air handlers this summer. Some pretty intensive operational enhancements we'd make to it. But it's not new air handlers, it's just getting those to work. And it's paying for itself right now, I think, and it was 11 years payback.
One of the air handlers, quite frankly, if we don't do this, we will have to commit to servicing it. It's the library air handler, I believe.
Yeah.
We'll absolutely have to do that. So in a sense of, it's a matter of, do we want to work it into the performance contract where we'll be off budget, frankly, or, are we going to commit to do actually probably less work, okay, and have to pay for it out of budget?
I guess, because the other side of that question is if we decide to go forward and do the recommissioning, and in 4 years, we have a new school up and running, so we've lost 6 years on the payback, how does that affect the performance contract and our savings? Do we
Well-
still write off, are you still writing off the 6 years?
Yeah, basically what you have to do, right.
Okay, so six,
Because the school's questionable.
right,
Smart.
so,
yeah.
yeah, so
Right.
it would bear the burden of $36,000. So the question would be, does it make sense to spend roughly half of it, on the next 4 years?
Yeah, the other part of that as well, the payback I gave you is just energy. The other part of the savings to you is the budget impact, that it becomes not a budget line item issue to fix the air handlers because it's being done through this program.
Sounds like he knows our budget a little too well.
Well, I'm,
Trust me, I've been grilling these people for months.
yeah, and unfortunately, your peers, Bob works, he's responsible for Massachusetts. I have the East Coast, and I'm hearing the same problems, just it's universal out there. Nobody has money.
Right.
So it's why these programs are so valuable right now. It's because you don't have money, and this program diverts money that was going to utility companies and uses it to reinvest back in your facility. So it's a great program. Fantastic interest rate. I think the town's getting about 3.7. That's historically low for this work. Typically, it's 5 or 5.5%, and you're at 3.7. So very, very advantageous in those regards as well.
And in the scheme of the overall project, there's some grant money that's coming in to impact this as well, am I right?
There's grant money for this building, about $100,000.
Overall, that's what I meant, overall.
Yeah,
for the
overall,
town.
$100,000.
Would this eliminate I don't know if anyone knows the answer, would this eliminate the need for the space heaters that we had at Pembroke last year?
Yes, because the
We,
ventilators would be
we hope so. There may be one other pump
Okay.
issue that we have to address separately, but
Okay, all right.
we're looking at that.
Any more questions?
Boiler's off the table, I'm all set.
Yeah, okay. Then we should vote on this even though it's a town bill. It's still,
Yeah, I think-
you're recommending that we vote?
I'm recommending you vote on it, and that way it's, clearly the committee is on board with this, and that will help them to proceed with scheduling the work.
Make a motion to recommend it then?
I think basically, what did I do for wording
We're
here?
approving, we're recommending.
No, we're recommending.
Endorse.
Endorse was the word.
Endorse, I think is what I put.
That was your word.
I thank you.
Can I change it to recommend?
You can
Whatever
change
you
it to
want.
whatever you want.
They're suggested, no worries.
The chair will entertain a motion to recommend the work being proposed for the Georgetown Middle School and the Pearlie Elementary School as presented by Link Services, with the understanding that all work be performed in such a way and scheduled at such times as to not interfere with the normal operation of summer programs, school year programs, or summer maintenance projects otherwise going on at those two schools.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to recommend the lighting project and the recommissioning of the unit ventilators
And air
and
handlers.
air handlers
There's plural.
at Pembroke Elementary School, as presented by Link Services, again with the understanding that all work will be performed in such a way at such times as to not interfere with the normal operations of summer school programs, school year programs, or summer maintenance programs.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank
Motion
you.
carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
for coming in.
It'll be busy this summer for you.
Thanks for
that's
explaining
sure.
all that.
It'll be
No worries,
busy.
thank you.
Okay.
Nice job without the power. Okay.
Next time.
Let's see, GAA will be coming in at a later time, which you'll schedule, we'll have scheduled with them. Okay, next, administrative reports.
Carol.
Carol, do you want to
Yeah,
start?
I have a couple of things, and
Link Services is coming off that, so, and